Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, in Edo State, has denied allegations of obstructing political parties from inspecting election materials and BVAS machines used in the recent governorship election. The Resident Electoral Commissioner in Edo, Dr. Anugbum Onuoha, described accusations as baseless, misleading, and devoid of truth.
The controversy began when the People's Democratic Party, PDP, and its candidate, Dr. Asue Ighodalo, claimed that INEC was disregarding a court order granting inspection of the election materials. However, Onuoha clarified that INEC had actually scheduled the inspection for Wednesday at its Benin headquarters, inviting all interested parties to participate. The Resident Electoral Commissioner urged stakeholders to disregard misinformation and encourage parties to engage with his office through proper legal channels, promising full cooperation. Now, this development comes amidst ongoing debates about electoral transparency following the Edo elections. Joining us, of course, to discuss this.
Yes, we have Mr. Citing, who's joining us to have the conversation, and let's see what the true position is regarding what the arguments are in Edo State. Good morning. Thank you very much for joining us.
Good morning. It's a pleasure to be here.
All right.
Sorry, I'm on the move. That's why you see that I'm a bit unstable with my location. I apologize for that.
Oh, that's all right.
Going by your question, I'll start by saying that, look, from what we saw in the election, we on that election day proper, we saw a situation where there was a obvious collusion. INEC colluded with those that rigged the Edo State governorship election on the 21st of September. And, they announced a winner, and we are going to reclaim our mandate. And part of the efforts we are making was to go to INEC on Monday this week. We went with our court order, showing them that, look, this is what we have obtained to inspect the materials. So by that Monday, they told us that they were not ready yet and that they were going to have a schedule to involve everyone. But it's important to know that it is Asue Ighodalo and the People's Democratic Party that went to obtain the court order. So I wouldn't know why other parties were invited to join in the exercise. But that from that Monday, we couldn't inspect. Then Tuesday, we couldn't inspect. They made a release that they were going to start yesterday. So we got there yesterday, and there were kind of, disagreement, a rowdy session, chaotic session, in the inspection room. So inspection could not take place yesterday also. And then we are hoping that today we'll continue. They will be able to allow us to carry out inspection. But yesterday, as they said, that we couldn't do inspection. And today we just hope, because of the rowdy session yesterday, I think both parties agreed that we can continue with the inspection today. And I hope they will give us a chance to inspect the material starting from this morning.
Yeah, what exactly do you describe as a rowdy session? Can you be clear on exactly what it is? Because there's news reports that say thugs, were causing chaos at the office, the INEC office yesterday. So what do you mean by rowdy session?
What I mean to say that, some, especially from the APC, they were saying that they needed time to prepare, they needed to get some of their materials ready and all of that. So that led to a kind of disagreement, a kind of rowdy session and all of that. So you heard from the interview granted by the APC state chairman, Mr. Jared Tenebe, where he was saying that we couldn't carry out the inspection because they didn't have their own register, as the case may be. So I think it was an argument ensued, actually. So the bottom line is that we couldn't do that yesterday.
All right. There are also reports, about how, I did see how a representative of your party was saying that this was done, targeted to ensure that you do not meet the deadline of Saturday, the deadline to filing your appeal on Saturday. Should you not, should the situation arise where you're not really able to gain access between now and Saturday, what will be the next steps?
That's actually where the problem is, because one would ordinarily expect that INEC understands what time says regarding this very important matter. One would expect INEC to be most proactive, to be very proactive. But what we can see is the reverse, So they are not proactive, they are not getting very serious, which is a testament of what they actually did on the 21st of September, where they flagrantly breached their own rules and regulations by taking collation from local government in Edo, Onuoha, and Ego to the state collation center. We only have this Saturday to do our filing, to file our case. And we are having delays from Monday, and today is Thursday, and nothing has been done. It's I don't know how to interpret that other than to say that, look, INEC is not actually helping matters. Because part of which is that, look, we went to court to bring order to inspect our materials. So now, what brought other parties into this picture? If they had actually, did they go to the court to obtain an order? Were they interested in inspecting the materials and all of that? So I think from Monday, you can imagine, we went there on Monday, they were telling us that they were here to draft the schedule, of which they have been served, the court order. So it's a delay tactics, which of course, in a situation like this, when election is rigged by the umpire, they also make attempt to cover it up for those that were affected, not to actually seek justice at the right time. I think it's a delay tactics from the INEC, if you ask me.
Yeah. I mean, you may not be part of the PDP's legal team, but do you have any idea how many days on the average that the PDP's legal team might need to inspect these materials before, of course, presenting their case? And if you get the, if INEC rather releases these files to you today or maybe tomorrow, would that be enough for the PDP?
Well, I am not a lawyer. I was with our legal counsel, and in the room yesterday, we saw what was happening. All we are saying is that, INEC, look, let us inspect this because of the importance of the timing. We have up to this Saturday. Saturday is just about 2 days away. Today is Thursday, tomorrow is Friday and Saturday. So if we cannot have access to this material for inspection, you understand what that means. And if, again, they now give us a very limited time. We have over 4,000 plus polling units, that we want to inspect, as the case may be. So you can imagine how far we can go in inspecting those polling units. So it's actually not going on very well. So it's time bound, and by Saturday we have to file, to make our final filings. The lawyers were there too. I saw the, I don't want to use the word grievances, but the concern was there. It was very obvious that the concern was there. If by Monday, from Monday till now, and an order they got since last week, or as the case may be, we are here to inspect, and we have just this Saturday. So you now ask, how many of those items are we going to be able to inspect based on the short time left? Yeah. So that's the situation.
What is the PDP hoping to prove in court?
Obviously, we won the election, no doubt about that. We have every reason or evidence to prove that we won the election. First, INEC flaunted their order, their rules and regulations, and there were a lot of funny things that happened during that election. And we are continually guaranteed to actually go to court and say that, look, we are dissatisfied with the results you announced. Based on what we have, evidently we won the election. So we are challenging it in court. So the part of the process begins with inspection of the materials, which we rightfully went to the court, and the court has granted. So INEC should not be a barrier. They shouldn't be an obstacle towards facilitating that process, unlike what we are saying today now. So it's very important they make it fast. They have to be neutral. They have to be honest and make it seamless for us to actually carry out the exercise smoothly, because after now we go to the court properly. So we needed this inspection to file our case properly so that the defense will start in court. Let me say this, that we won the election, whether with the result on the IRF or whatever it is obvious we won the election, and some of their guidelines, they've flaunted themselves. For example, I mentioned earlier that you don't do local government collation at the state collation center. It's a breach of their rules and regulations. And the effect that had on the election. especially Oredo local government area and Ikobaka local government areas. So if you do that, I think there's a problem with it, and that affected the outcome of the election according to INEC. And we also have other local governments like in Edo North, what happens and all of that. So all of these things we want to challenge, and the process has started. The institution should allow us to carry out inspection properly. And I must also say this, that this is the time the police or the security agencies should actually act so neutral. You know, they have to provide security for everyone, everybody. They must, again, not allow Edo people to see them as a very biased people. Because if they cannot give us security again this time around, it's going to be a problem. You cannot do anything. You saw what happened in the election, where we saw the Nigerian police all colluding, you know, with the INEC for those materials to be hijacked and for the election to be rigged, you know. So I think there's a problem. All hands must be on deck this time around to ensure that the process is seamless and is timely. No, court process is timely. So they cannot allow us this time around to have access to inspect the material. So, and we are going to do our filing on Saturday, which is the deadline. So something is actually wrong with that picture.
When you speak about collusion, you know, from INEC, you know, tell us exactly what you mean. The role that you accuse INEC of playing during the elections, that of course, you know, now allegedly has led to your party's loss in the Edo State elections.
You know, like I always say, personally, if election is going to be rigged in this country, INEC cannot act alone. They need a security coverage. If the security is not colluding with them or is not giving them the shield for them to rig the election, they can't just rig the election. You saw what just recently happened in Rivers State. And it is an indictment somehow that we could conduct election in this country without the presence of the Nigerian police force. And the election was very peaceful, and it went well. You know, so what we saw in Edo State on September 21st, even before the election, you could see the tension, you know, you could see the intimidating atmosphere that they were creating. The Inspector General Police was in Benin City. You saw what happened and all of that. So in all of this, they've even made the atmosphere to be very tense. And that led into the election day proper. And then you saw what happened where INEC was, where they were moving collation from local government center to the state collation center. If the police, if the security agency were actually, if they were willing to be unbiased, as the case may be, you could see that no, they should be the one to even tell INEC, look, there is no problem here. There's no crisis warranting you to do this. And we have pockets of police colluding with INEC and INEC hijacking materials, especially taking materials away from the state collation center, local government collation center. And we also saw what happened in Aunchi Town Hall. You know, that's the ASAC or West, the local government collation center, where we had violent people coming in to violently move materials from that local government collation center, and they're taking them away just freely. Like that. So you ask, where is the police?
Do you have proof of all that you've just claimed?
Oh, you know, I think I don't want to go in details. I don't want to reveal a lot because I'm not authorized to do that. And secondly, I am not a lawyer. So what we are trying to do is to say, look, all the necessary agencies, you should allow us to prove this. You can even see the protest. You know, since they announced that result, there have been protests in Benin City or in Edo State. Every part. Up to yesterday, that people went to protest at INEC office in Abuja. You know, when you see a Benin woman or Benin women dressing in black attire to agitate for something like this, it tells you the extent of the barbarity committed against them. So I don't want to go in detail because I'm not authorized.
I'm not asking for details. It's a yes or a no question. Okay. And eventually, if you do get access to view this, to do this inspection and view the materials you want to inspect, you eventually go to court and then you can share your evidence. All I'm asking is, there have been strong claims that have been made. Do you have evidence to support this?
Of course, there are evidence. Right. Okay. Of course, there are a lot of evidence.
All right.
Like I just told you, if INEC breaches its constitution, for example, moving collation from local government to state. Is that not an evidence? We even had incidences of the IREV, what is in the IREV result announced at the polling units, not in congruence with what they are just announcing. So it's a problem. So we have to actually challenge that. A lot of evidence, there's a lot of evidence, and when we get to the court, we'll be revealing them as the case proceeds.
All right, and also to just ask, you talked about talks, you talked about protests happening. Give us a further insight into the conversation. There also were reports of thugs storming the commission's office in Benin to allegedly obstruct the inspection of electoral materials. But away from that, talk about the Edo people. Would you say that with all that has happened, the Edo people have moved on and just taking life, taking what their current reality is to be a Sera, whatever will be situation? Or are Edo people firmly in support of your candidate and your party and rooting for you to not just get access to these materials or to the INEC materials, but also to go to court and maybe win the case in court?
All right, the Edo people, and especially the Benins, we are very, very unique in what we do. Now, for the past 2 weeks now, there have been series of protests in Benin City. You are aware of this. 2 days ago, I think that was Tuesday. 2 days ago should be Tuesday. You had a lot of Benin women dressing in black attire. As a Benin man, that exercise, that action alone has both cultural and traditional implication. It's significance, not implication anyway. It has significances that borders on our culture. Women appealing to the conscience, going to the street to protest, to say that, look, the election was rigged. It was rigged. And you also see various groups protesting that, look, election was rigged. Now, is it not funny that those that said they won an election, they're also the one protesting at INEC office? You saw according to what INEC announced, the deputy governor-elect, the person of Dennis Idaosa, with some other people, those faces you saw on that day at INEC office, I think that should be Monday. It was not on Monday. So you saw them there on Tuesday in the morning. You saw them. What were they doing? These are some of the things we are saying. Edo State, as we speak today, Benin City, is like where people are mourning. No, you can also find out, not because I'm a PDP person.
We need to go.
So you can find out the atmosphere is like a money place now. And that is why you are seeing protests every day. We don't know what is going to happen today. But up to yesterday, you saw people protesting at INEC headquarters, even in Abuja. So that's the situation. And people are saying that return this mandate because we gave this mandate to Asue Ighodalo of the People's Democratic Party. So the last time we experienced this was in 2007 when Adams Ali Oshomole won the election and people were not satisfied. So we are having a repeat of it today. And we are very confident that the mandate stolen will be returned. All right. Edo people want it returned.
All right, we'll see how things turn out. I was going to mention that, he's presented his certificate of return to the Oba of Benin, and of course, that might seem like he's been accepted by the Edo people. But, the next couple of days we'll see and follow also on whether your journey to INEC office today will be successful for the PDP. Thank you very much for joining us this morning. We hope to hear from you again, maybe early next week as things unfold. Thanks for your time.
Thanks so much. It's a pleasure.